And now, the SleepHawk Worldwide Podcast. Here are your hosts, Brandon Staton and Tyler Hansbrough.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the SleepHawk Worldwide Podcast. This is Sleep Dog with the Big Hawk.
What's up, everybody? It is the Big Hawk, and in the middle of winter, it's been some disgusting weather, but we've got a great podcast, a lot of topics, a lot of happening. UNC basketball, we're on the come up, underrated. We're proving everybody wrong, and we're ready to talk about sleep.
Oh yeah, we are, baby. We're ready to go. I mean, we got another road. We got 2 road wins in a row. We're getting just stuff in our schedule with quad ones, which we all talked about last year how much we hate, but we got them now. So we'll get into the Clemson game. We'll look ahead to the NC State game. We'll kind of take a look at the general broader landscape of everything and talk Carolina basketball. NFL playoffs, man. It's Sunday night here as we're recording. The Sunday night game hadn't even happened and the playoff picture's solidified. So we will do our Contender Pretender NFL playoffs edition. Big Hawk and me will unpack the AFC NFC playoff pictures and tell you who's real and who's not. We'll discuss Black Monday, discuss who's going to get fired, and coaches and all that stuff going around. We got the national championship game coming up tomorrow night, so that might come before the NFL. We'll figure that out. Just a lot of stuff going on, and we'll talk about that game, what we think is going to happen, and might be ahead for Jim Harbaugh. But we'll start with the Tar Heels, man. So Sleep Dog was just slanging Kamingas at a card show all weekend. But I had it up on the iPad. It was great. I mean, I was watching Carolina, so I couldn't watch super intently. I did watch the entire game, felt comfortable. We were a 3.5. I think at one point we were a 3.5 point dog on the road. I mean, Clemson's a good team. Looked like they played us tight a little while. I mean, the game was close throughout. Mm-hmm. And, I think as a Carolina fan, you always feel like, right, that you should beat the shit out of everybody. And so sometimes these close games, that's a fan being a fan, which is irrational, right? Mm-hmm. But I feel like, when you wind up with a 10-point win at times that maybe wasn't that pretty, but you wind up with a 10-point win on the road against Clemson, mm-hmm. I think you feel great about it. I really like where the team's at right now.
Absolutely. And I'm going to talk about that. I want to back up because when our last pod, which we had an off week, guys, I'm sorry about that. I know you
Happy New Year. Yeah, we forgot to tell everybody.
Yeah, I know you guys were distraught and really upset about that. But, hey, we're going to talk about this team. And I said I thought this was the biggest or the most important 3-game road stretch for this team. And this team has struggled in the past on road games, and they haven't handled themselves well, and it's been an issue. And the past couple of years, I've always said, hey, you got to be able to take the show on the road. And this team, to start ACC play with 3 road games, I thought was just awful scheduling from the ACC. Now, somebody needs to be talked to about that. I wasn't really happy to start the ACC on 3 road games. And in particular, when we went to Pitt, now Pitt's had our number for the past couple of years, and we got a big win in Pittsburgh. Now, don't underestimate that. And I know Pittsburgh is not the most sexy win out there that you can have, but they have beat us the past couple of years. And there's been a little riff-raff with the coaching staff. Not going to bring that up, but that was a big win. And mm-hmm. what I liked about that win in Pittsburgh, not only, you got to take a conference win. Any conference win is a good win in my book, and you can never take that for granted. But what I in particular liked is we had somebody step up off the bench and played a huge role, and that is Seth Trimble. And not only is he, to me, impacting the game from not only scoring, but he's rebounding. He has great energy. He's doing the things that Coach Davis wants him to do. And when players understand that and they start to do that, then they'll get more minutes. The coaching staff will develop some confidence. And then you know what? You can start, hey, you know what? Maybe, Coach Davis has a little trust and confidence in me. Now I'm going to start shooting it. I'm going to start doing the things that I've worked on once I do what the team needs me to do. But Seth Trimble stepped up. He had 10 points, 6 rebounds off the bench. Never underestimate that. We've lacked depth for the past, I would say, couple years.
Mm-hmm.
And why I think, in particular, Seth Trimble is such an important piece is because Elliot Cadeau is a freshman. And as talented as he is and how good of a basketball player he is, freshman, it's going to be peaks and valleys. And so he's going to provide the team, sometimes when he's struggling or if he's just winded, he's going to provide Elliot Cadeau with some rest, and that's going to be beneficial. And also, we've just seen R.J. Davis, what he does when he's not the point guard, just playing unbelievable right now. R.J. Davis is arguably the front runner right now for the ACC Player of the Year. He's having an unbelievable year. But the Pittsburgh win, to me, we got to give the game ball to Seth Trimble. I thought that was big time for us to start this 3-game road stretch off at Pittsburgh with the win. That is big. And then, Sleep, you brought it up. You talked about Clemson. And, we got a 10-point win at Clemson. But I just want to say this. For most people, if you're doubting Clemson or you don't think this was a big win, this was the most important win to me all year. All year so far, this is the most important win. And not only did Trimble have consistency, he had another big game. And so he's being a little consistent. He's not one of these guys coming off the bench, just has a big night, then, kind of disappears. We've had that. But he is showing improvement, and he's being consistent, which I love. I thought he had a great game at Clemson as well. But coming into Clemson, the matchup I was most forward looking to, or the matchup that made the headlines, P.J. Hall and Armando Bacot. That was going to be the big man showdown, or some people were writing the headlines, R.J. Davis and P.J. Hall, the 2 leading scorers in the ACC. P.J. Hall is having an All-American year. Clemson has gotten a lot of national recognition. They just came off a loss at Miami, which Miami, don't underestimate them. They haven't had the start to the year that a lot of people thought they would, but they're a quality team. And they had Norchad Omier. He is a big, and he's one of the best bigs in the country. P.J. Hall dominated him. But they did lose, and they got destroyed at Miami. And Clemson comes back. I thought Clemson would regroup, and we would get the best game from them. But that's not the case. Clemson had an off night, and so did P.J. Hall. He arguably had his worst game of the whole year, and Armando dominated the game. And he did it from rebounding, being physical. He had great energy. He came out and dominated the game from the start, and I absolutely love the mindset that he had. And to me, this was a statement for Armando because this was such a big game. This is our second road game of this 3-game road trip that we're on right now. And also, it was against one of the best bigs in the country. And a lot of people, including myself, have been critical of Armando about being a little inconsistent this year and not living up to the expectations that a lot of people have placed on him. But I think this was a statement game for Armando, telling those haters, hey, shut up. I can still dominate. I'm going to show up on the big stage. And he had a great game. And everyone else, this team has actually proven me wrong, Sleep. And the reason I say that is because I didn't think that they had the ability to win 3 games in a row on the road. Now, I know we haven't even talked to NC State. Now, NC State's a quality team as well. They're playing a lot better than what a lot of people thought, and they have one of the best bigs in the conference in DJ Burns, and we can get to that matchup soon. But this team, I don't think that me or you would have thought that this team is capable of going 3 games in a row on the road and winning all of them. And they have set themselves up and put them in place to do that. That's what I respect. And I'll get your thoughts. Just go ahead. Tell me what you're thinking. And I'm just blown away right now.
Well, I knew they were going to win all 3, of course. But yeah, we talked about it earlier in the year. It was kind of nice to fly under the radar a little bit. You get to this very, very tough section of our schedule. Not sure what happened there, man. The hearts you're watching on there, some sort of I think there's a setting on the MacBook now where when you do certain things, it like triggers. Tyler just took a swig of Gatorade and hearts popped out. I do love Gatorade. So, I think that we talked about it again, like earlier in the year, and the challenge was the stretch of the schedule and the time at which the stretch of the schedule occurs, right? You're out of class and it's out of your routine and yada, yada, yada. They drop 2. You wonder how they're going to rebound. They come back. They played great against Oklahoma. And then they've sort of carried that into, I think, 3 or 4 game winning streak now, right? 2 on the road, the game at Pitt, double digits, game at Clemson, double digits. You're going into state. And I think the thing that I thought was most telling about the Clemson game is like you expend a lot of energy, a lot of momentum, a lot of this sort of it factor on, stringing together these games and wins and, staying on track during the course of a season. I wouldn't say that Carolina is necessarily like rolling downhill, right? I don't think that we look at them right now and are like, man, a loss against anybody is an upset right now. I mean, there have been periods where Carolina teams, it's like, dude, they ain't going to lose. I mean, like, this is the lead story on TV if Carolina loses. I don't feel like if we were to go lose to NC State, right, that it's going to be, that level. But this is going to be a heavyweight ACC fight. I mean, State is top of the conference. We're top of the conference right now. It's early, right? But they're riding a 4-game winning streak. They haven't lost at home. We're riding a 4-game winning streak, and all of our losses have come at neutral sites against ranked opponents, right? So I don't think maybe Villanova wasn't ranked, but they have been, I think, at one point. So
no, Villanova is a quality team. They have some underrated players. They have very good players. The Dixon big, he is one of the better bigs in the Big East. But you're right, Sleep. I mean, yeah.
Well, what you see in the Clemson game, and you mentioned it, is like, we've got some depth, which is great. But what you need in those like sort of dog days games is you got to have your vets step up. And I think the guys that literally played the 2 best games were Mondo and RJ. And RJ, honestly, if we're in this position at the end of the year, if we're a couple games high, I mean, if we close the season somehow, and I am not looking ahead, okay, this is if we were to be a top 5 team at the end of the year, and RJ keeps playing the way he's playing, I'm not saying he's, I think there's a lot of players that for a number of reasons would maybe win the National Player of the Year ahead of him, but he's been that good. I mean, he's been incredible all year. I mean, he hits shots when you need him to hit shots. I mean, he's an unequivocal, go-to guy when you got to get him. He can create his own shot. And I mean, just when you think things are starting to sort of like, oh shit, here we go. Like bang, 3 ball, get a stop and another, he makes heady plays, makes the right plays. And, I mean, he's just turned into one of those guys. It reminds me a lot of maybe like Marcus Page, a guy that started out and you're like, okay, like he's a good player, great player, people. And then every single year he takes another step. And by the end of it, you're like, dude, this guy's an all timer. So it's been really, really fun to watch him. And I feel like the team's chemistry is there, in this weird sort of way. Like, I mean, we even have this harmonious relationship with Caleb Love, right? All the people our fans love him. He loves us. And like everybody's happy now. This is the way it's supposed to work. So I don't know what exactly has changed, but something has. I think our transfers, through the portal have been wildly successful. And yeah, this team just continues to gel a little bit. And as you start getting into, look, we've played the hardest part of our schedule. And the ACC, somebody told me the other day the ACC wasn't, the ACC's got 5 teams in the top 25.
People are doubting the ACC. And right now, I think that's one of the dumbest arguments that I've heard all year. There are a lot of teams in the ACC. I mean, we would dominate the Big Ten. The Big 12, they have Kansas. That's a real contender to me. They have they have a few other teams that can compete. Let's see here. SEC is vastly overrated outside of Kentucky. A lot of teams have started the season with comical and laughable schedules. They played the weakest schedule that I've seen.
We saw it happen in Oklahoma.
And all the media and all these fans, they buy it and they start hyping their team up. At the end of the day, just like every year, just like I say it, the ACC teams will be standing in March and making deep tournament runs. and the following year we'll never get the credit we deserve. There'll be some other league, some other, Power 5 conference or, whatever. They'll be talking smack and saying they're better than the ACC. I don't care. You can say it's top heavy, but it's not. So is every conference. There's only one team in the Big Ten that is actually a contender and a quality team, and that's Purdue to me.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are hyping up multiple teams in the Big Ten, and it's laughable. It's a laughable argument. The Big 12 outside of the ACC, the Big East, you have to give – so it goes maybe Big East, ACC, Big 12, but those three conferences are the best conference in basketball this year. That's not even a debate to me. Sleep, sorry.
Oh, you're good, man. So coming back to NC State, what do you think the keys are? Like Burns played great last year. We're coming off of 2 losses then last year, right? They beat us twice.
I
know they beat us there.
Really, I'm not sure. What I remember,
I think we beat them.
We lost to them.
I can't remember if that was the year ago.
I think we beat them at home. That's the one where
Terquavion
Smith or whatever his name fell down and had to be taken off in a stretcher, and then apparently went to the club.
Got it.
The same night. But hey, you made a few good points there. First of all, RJ Davis. If I had to pick anybody in the ACC to make a shot, game on the line, I'm picking RJ Davis. He's having a great year. But I will say we could win every game from here on out, and he still win National Player of the Year. Zach Edey has that thing locked up. He's going to be, in my opinion, back-to-back National Player. He is dominating college basketball, and he is a reason why Purdue is such a contender and dominating again this year.
He's good.
Yes, he's very good. And also, back to the NC State matchup. So there's 3 teams in the ACC that are still undefeated. It's us in conference play, by the way, just in conference play. Wake Forest is undefeated. NC State is undefeated, and we are undefeated in conference. So not only is this a rival game, this is a chance to hand NC State its first loss in the ACC. And there's been a lot of back and forth. But, Sleep, when I look at this, if I ever liked an NC State player, it's DJ Burns.
Yeah, dude, I ain't going to lie. Yeah.
He's heavy personality. He's a little different, and he makes me laugh. But I'm looking forward to the matchup between him and Armando. And they've been back and forth, and DJ doesn't get the national recognition like Armando does. He hasn't had the stats to back it up like Armando has. And that is the matchup to me. And if we can control DJ and kind of contain him and limit him, and I think if Armando has another big game and we have somebody step up off the bench, Seth Trimble or somebody unexpected, I think we win. But to me, you got to be careful with how you guard DJ Burns. And the reason I say that is because I consider him the best passer in the ACC. And it's it's kind of unorthodox, but he's a left-handed player. And believe me, if you guys are watching the game, he's not going to his right. He is fully left-handed. He may go right, but he's coming back to that left. And so the thing is, when you double, he's going to find the open man. So this, to me, is a game where Armando has to do the same. Hey, I'm coming in. I got DJ. I'm going to lock him up, and he's got to bring it in. He's got to bring it offensively, too. He's got to bring it at both ends, and then I will feel very confident if he does that. And if we have an X factor off the bench, I think this game's a dunski for us, and we get 3 dubs in a row, and we hand NC State their first loss in conference play, which would just be a beautiful thing. And I know if we do lose, oh, man, they're going to let us know about it, just like they always do. Sleep.
Well, they don't score well. They don't rebound well. They don't share the ball well, right? They rank, bottom half of the country in all those categories, right? They're scoring, what is it, 77 a game or so. Carolina's scoring probably closer to 85, like over the course of, and given who we've played and who they look, there's no way around it. Carolina's the favorite in this game. They should be the favorite in this game. My guess is the line opens around 5, 6, 6.5, maybe, right? It's just a rivalry game. So we're not going to roll in there with a 10-point favorite or anything like that. I mean, especially, we've seen how Pitt and Clemson work. So you got to figure that. I wouldn't be surprised if we're like a 3.5-point favorite. In my mind, if I'm drawing the line, I'd put it at 6.5. So look, you shouldn't lose this game. I think that we have yet to play our best basketball since Oklahoma. So I feel like, against Pitt and against Clemson, like those are the kinds of wins that we really haven't seemed to scrape together in the last several seasons. So it's good to see us like kind of win ugly, but it would be nice to click. I mean, we've got a team that can score 100 points on many occasions. So, we go out there and hang 90 on anybody, we're not going to lose. We're not going to lose any games we score 90 points because that means our offense is running. Right, we're hitting shots, we're taking good shots, we're rebounding the shots that they don't make. Right, we're doing all the things that Carolina does. So we come out there, and that's the thing to me is like you're probably going to put this, it's probably, I don't know if we're necessarily the best defensive team, right? So I think you're going to have to score. This is a game that's in the 70s and 80s, so I feel like Carolina scores 85, 88, State scores 79, 80. Right, I think it's one of those games. So.
And also, Sleep, you made a great point. We're not the best defensively. We're not the best defensively, and we're not the best at getting rebounds. And to me, you mentioned it. I think if we bring defense and we control the boards, and Mondo has a big game, I think that those are probably the three biggest keys to winning this game as well. And I think if we show up defensively, we can play with anybody in the country. And that is the biggest, hey, are we going to just commit to playing defense the rest of the year and be a very good defensive team? I think that will dictate the team's success going forward. I think that's super important because we can score.
And before we move off of this, State is just an awful, awful place to watch a basketball game. God, that place sucks. Just disaster. You don't even have to say it. I went there a couple of years ago to watch Carolina, and we just mopped the floor with those guys, and we weren't even that good.
Well,
and man, God bless America. Like all you State people out there, man, I don't know how you do it. I mean, I'm a Washington fan, Washington football, Commanders. I'm a New York Mets fan. I'm a Carolina football fan, which is a struggle, as we discussed. Like, and all three of those put together, the fan base is just like, look, man, we know who we are, right? NC State does not know who they are at all. But we're about to show them. All right. So I'm going to tell you all that right now. I'm going on a limb. I got Heels by 9. I really want to go double digits, but I think they're good. And I think it's going to be a close game.
I don't care how bad we win or, if we just barely win. I'm done with the predictions because every time I predict anything, we just get mollywopped. There's no expectations. Hey, I just all right,
State's going to win by a dozen. I'll say that. That way, little reverse psychology. Somebody can clip that out and make me look like an asshole. Anyway, now I've said both, so I can't be wrong. So anyway, on to football. Fortunately, not Carolina football. Partly Carolina Panthers football. What a disaster there. We didn't even talk about. We weren't here last time when owner threw a drink on a Jags fan. Like, Jesus, God, what are you doing? NFL playoff picture is set. Before we get into, we're going to do our contender pretender maybe at the end of this segment, but let's talk a little bit about what's going on. So AFC playoff picture, Ravens, Dolphins, Chiefs, Texans, Browns, Bills, Steelers in that order. Okay. Ravens win the division. Or win the conference, so I guess they get a bye. I don't freaking know how it works. Niners, Cowboys, Lions, Bucks, Eagles. I spelled that real weird in my notes. Rams and Packers in that order. Niners just been crushing people. Eagles are like shit. I don't know what's happening there. They dropped all the way to 5th. They got crushed by the Giants this afternoon. So, and then of course, what I guess we'll get to that in the segment, but I think what's more interesting are the teams that aren't there and all the storylines surrounding them. It's talking about Washington. Ron Rivera's out of there. With the loss, I think Washington now they have a shot at the second pick in the draft.
Did they fire him already?
Yeah, they said they were going to let him go at the end of the season.
Already?
Just lame ducking it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why would you tell
he's been
that?
gone. Yeah, I don't know. I think it was one of those. The writing was totally on the wall there, and I think they knew. The interesting part is they got that guy Bieniemy, who was the OC for Mahomes in Kansas City, and Washington's offensive line. I mean, as a Heels guy, I love the fact we got Sam and Sam's just like running for his life, and they're throwing everything in that shotgun. It's a tough because Washington has some decent offensive players. They just ain't got any time to get them the ball, and their defense just sucks. So, but anyway, this isn't a sob session on Washington. That's been 30 years running. So, other interesting stories. The biggest one, of course, is Bill Belichick and whether he's going to be in New England next year. Now, they've got a high draft pick and another shot to crack at getting a real quarterback. Bailey Zappi today. I mean, dude, Big Hawk, they might have been able to run me out there and get just as good at what they got. I mean, my man looked like, I don't know. He looked like a 9-year-old just popped in Madden and put it on all pro mode. I mean, he was getting smoked out there. I think his QB rating was 20.1. I don't even know it goes that low. So what do you think about Belichick? You think Kraft keeps him?
No. I think he needs to go. And I think it's best for both sides, actually. He's had a great run. You got to know when to call it. I think he's actually even seems to me like he's having conversations with other coaches after the games. They just said that I think it was last week he was talking to Buffalo's head coach for 20, 30 minutes after the game. You've never heard Belichick do that. The writing's on the wall. I think the fans are a little bit, hey, we love Belichick. Let's end it. I don't see – now, to me, if they had players and they had – they were 1 or 2 players away from a championship, then I'd be like, all right, let's think about that.
Yeah.
But I think it's time to go. And the reason I say that is because not only is he the head coach, he's also the GM. I think he manages a team and decides who they sign. And he just has too much stake or too much of a role with the Patriots, and he hasn't had the success. And so I think that it's best if both sides part. I think New England needs a reset, and I'm not sure who's out there, but I think it'd be best if both sides mutually agree, which I'm sure that's a politically correct way of saying, hey, we fired Belichick.
Yeah.
They'll do something
and
that.
He understood that he was getting fired.
Yeah,
that's what mutually agreed means.
Yeah.
And we fired him, and he already knew we were going to fire him, so we mutually agreed to that.
Well, Sleep, the one thing I'm not too big on is I don't think they need to make Belichick feel great, and I don't think they have to do it in the most sensitive way. I heard somebody talk about, I hope they don't fire him on Monday. Hope they fire him on Tuesday. I don't give a damn. Firing somebody on Monday or Tuesday, that makes no difference. Okay.
I mean, especially as an organization that just cuts bait with people. You know what I mean? They just, when they're done with you, they just let you go. And I don't know if Belichick has that. I mean, that's probably his doing too. But they made a name for themselves as being somebody that, look, man, when you're done here, you're done here. You know what I mean? Like they cut they got rid of Tom Brady. Here's what I think he deserves. I think he should do. But again, I think he could retire. I think that's like the best thing for everybody there is for Belichick to be like, you know what? Like, I'm done. But dude, just like players, I mean, he's a football guy, right? And I don't necessarily know he's ready to do that. So I think when they keep talking about we're going to sit down and have conversations, in my mind, that's what that conversation is about. Is Kraft is saying, hey, man, listen, retire so I don't have to fire you.
Yeah, you know what? You can save me with all the Belichick stuff and being sensitive. To me, he's been an asshole to the media. And some of his responses to a lot of questions I felt like were inappropriate and not really addressed and kind of demeaning to the people that ask him. So me personally, I think he needs to be fired tomorrow. Nobody needs to tell him how good he is. He knows it. Yeah. He's had these, the Super Bowls and the wins and the career to really back that up. So
I love it, dude, because I know that Big Hawk hitting like a – what is it? Who are their rivals? Like the Dolphins? I know you're not like an other team Patriots – besides the Patriots
guys. I feel like they dominated everybody so much.
And I just love it because it's a flat, just like, yeah, dude, fuck your guy, get this guy out of here.
Yeah.
I even find myself getting roped into it. I as a fan myself I just like watching people be great, right? So like people hate Tom Brady, fine. People hate LeBron James, fine. I just love watching these guys. I think they're so good, right? And Belichick is NFL's Phil Jackson. You know what I mean? And so like him, hate him, don't like him. I mean, like people didn't like Phil Jackson. I thought Phil Jackson was just awesome when I was a kid, watching him growing up and everything. So I'm with you, man. But the proof is right there on the field. Like they suck bad. Yeah. And there is, it's one thing to lose. It's one thing to like never really have a chance. And I think like you've either constructed a roster that is so terrible. Like I know Tom Brady's good, and it seems like you put guys around him that all of a sudden are good that weren't nobody heard of before, right?
Yep.
But I mean, he ain't there, and then it's like they ain't got anybody else good. Name 5 players on the New England Patriots. Right
I don't
now.
even want to look at it.
You know what I mean?
No, I have no interest with the Patriots. They've been irrelevant. They've lost. It's time to move on. Yeah, they're done.
Let's talk about so I'm going to run through a couple coaching situations, and we only got time for a couple of them. But you got Vrabel in Tennessee, you got Tomlin in Pittsburgh, you got Ron Rivera, we already talked about. You got the Raiders situation, you got the Panthers situation. Is just they lost 9-0 today. Okay, wow, at home I think, and then the Chargers situation. So and probably a couple others. Like coaching carousel, it's a disaster out there, right?
Yep.
So I think probably the most interesting one is Mike Tomlin. Unless you disagree, let's close that coaching segment on Mike Tomlin, and what do you think should happen?
Okay,
there?
First of all,
they just made the playoffs, by the way.
So Ron Rivera's getting fired. Arthur Smith's getting fired for Atlanta. He is a Tar Heel, so you got to give him a little respect. But
love him just chucking noise at that dude today too, because he was basically like, "Man, why the fuck are you even trying to score a touchdown? You're down." I just love the fact when guys like stand on business like that. I was cool with that.
So he went out with a bang. He'll be gone. And the Vrabel, the situation in Tennessee, he's fired too. Tennessee, they're done ski. There's not a bright spot going forward.
Yeah.
But Mike Tomlin, I would actually keep him. I think he's been, taking a little bit of criticism this year. They haven't had like a really good quarterback. I don't know. They have some young players, and they do have some really good defensive players. I think TJ Watts is there.
TJ Watt, yeah.
Yeah, TJ Watt, one of the best defensive players in the NFL. Maybe they just get some pieces this offseason. I would keep Tomlin, and I think they can. I'd give him. I feel like he's secured. I like that coach, and I think he's done a great job. And I like how he runs his team. I think he's been a great coach for forever, and I don't think his time's done there. And I'm going to make a prediction. I think maybe Russell Wilson goes to Pittsburgh and has a rebirth there.
Dude, I don't know about that part, but Mike Tomlin is as close as you can get to unfireable, in my opinion. I don't think the guy's ever had a losing record. I mean, the Steelers weren't good this year, and they're in the playoffs, right? I mean, and I don't know where Tomlin's voice is in the quarterback discussion in terms of draft. I don't understand how people thought Kenny Pickett was the guy. Okay, I live in the sports card world, and guys are literally spending $100,000 on Kenny Pickett cards, and I'm like, guys, come on, like you got to see this train coming. All right. Yeah. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Like I never thought he was that good. So, they roll out, I think they rolled Mitch out there, and look, love you, Mitch, but he ain't no good either. And then you got, they got Mason Rudolph, whatever his name is. Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer playing quarterback. And somehow they still made the playoffs. They're 10-7. And he just always gets it done. He embodies that city, in a profession where, not a lot of black coaches get the opportunities that they need. I mean, like he's a winner. I think, you got Andy Reid, you got Belichick, and maybe I'm missing a couple others, but Mike Tomlin there's definitely an argument in my mind that he's best coach in the NFL. Because he just takes what he has every year. And sure, like, I guess he won a couple Super Bowls, right, with Roethlisberger, or was it Cal?
He's a Super Bowl champ. Yeah.
So it's like, and he does, like Belichick had Tom Brady, like Andy Reid's got Pat Mahomes, like Tomlin had Roethlisberger. Okay, Roethlisberger, a good quarterback,
he's
Hall of Fame quarterback. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Okay,
but he wasn't ever the best quarterback in the league. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe he was up there, and he puts up a lot of numbers, but dude, the way they take and make do with what they have.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've had like Le'Veon Bell and some guys but sure. I mean, I'm talking like absolute superstars on the Pittsburgh
Willie
Steelers.
Parker, UNC Tar Heel. I think they won it actually with him.
Yeah, they did. He's Super Bowl MVP.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And John Bunting wouldn't play him. I'm just saying they haven't had Carolina football guys. Welcome. It's like, anyway, I just think Tomlin, I got a huge level of admiration for him, the way he does his job and goes about his business. And he's sort of non-apologetic. He gives, like, to your point about Belichick, he gives like some deep answers. He's had some confrontations in the media. He's been a little rough to, on the surface and stuff, but I think his players have a lot of respect for him, and that matters. I think he's a guy that can relate to a lot of these young players, and he's done that well over time. He's maintained the ability to relate to the consistently younger crop of players, and I would imagine that Belichick, Andy Reid does the same thing, but I feel like Belichick just it's a young man's game, and he ain't there. So we'll see, man. I mean, tomorrow's the day. You're right, man. Chopping block. We're gonna wake up, dude. You know who I don't want to be right now is what's his face? Oh, Adam Schefter, dude. I mean, maybe this is his Super Bowl. Just getting to all these, but he's on the phone right now. I bet he's got 7 cell phones sitting on a desk right now, and is like literally about to shit his britches trying to answer all of them at the same time, figure out who's getting fired. He probably knows everything already. That's got to be so nerve-wracking, dude.
I would feel like it's almost a done deal. I think that teams know who they're going to fire. He probably has a general good idea. I think to me it's just whether he's going to be able to break
At what point are you Adam Schefter and you just like, I'm pretty sure they're going to fire this guy, and just let that be good enough? Like, I mean, you're Adam Schefter.
He'll gift wrap it. He'll say sources.
Sources.
Yeah, they're just like every other big guy. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like
he's heard from SleepHawk Worldwide that Bill Belichick's going to get shit canned and break it right before we get off here. All right, so here we go. Let's get into it. Our NFL playoff edition, Contender Pretender, dude. This is our favorite subject, our favorite thing. So I'm going to start with the Big Hawk. I'm going to give Big Hawk all these NFC teams. You want me to go first, Tyler? You
go ahead and ask me.
All right. Yep. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to run through the AFC Contender Pretender. You're going to tell me why, and we'll go from there. All right. So we'll start from the top, the most obvious answers, and go from there. San Francisco 49ers, number 1 seed in the NFC. Contender Pretender.
Contender. They have too much firepower. The only reason they won't win it, in my opinion, is if they're not healthy.
Dallas Cowboys, number 2 seed.
Pretender. They've absolutely gotten mollywopped by some subpar teams. They can't take the show on the road. There's too much controversy, and some people actually believe in this team, and that's when the Cowboys will let you down. They're pretenders.
I took a show on the road to Washington now with 38-10, but that's about like beating your children's middle school cheerleading team. Detroit Lions, number 3 seed.
Absolutely not. You know how I feel about the Lions. Everyone wants to make them out to be, the Patriots with Brady. They're not. And, their head coach, Dan Campbell, I think, the team just takes on his personality. Save me a break. Find me an interview where this guy doesn't cry. I'm out on them. They're pretenders.
Sam Laporta went down. That hurts it for me. He's a big part of their offense. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 4 seed. Didn't nobody see that coming?
Pretender. What's his face? Baker Mayfield.
Mayfield.
Don't think you're going to win it with him, even though he's having a good year. He can be good enough, but he's not going to be a Super Bowl quarterback. Nice
living in the NFC South. He did get $2 million for winning for making the playoffs. Got a $2 million bonus for this win today. So good on Baker Mayfield.
They believe in him.
Yeah, exactly. The Philadelphia Eagles, the 5 seed. Got to be a disappointing seed for those guys where they started, where they're at.
Pretenders. They fired some coaches. There's a lot of issues going on. People starting to question whether Hurts is really the guy that we thought he was. Too much noise. The tush push will work only so much.
Tush push only works at the goal line.
Yeah. Pretenders.
What are they now? The California Rams? The Los Angeles Rams? Is that where they're at now?
They're no longer the St. Louis Rams.
Yeah,
I grew up about 2 hours from there, guys. Yeah. Grew up a Rams fan. Let me just go ahead and say this. They are pretenders. They've got on a little hot streak lately. But listen, this team isn't going to meet the expectations that a lot of people have said that they're going to reach lately. I don't believe in them. Cooper Kupp's good. I know he was out at the beginning of the year. He's healthy now. He's putting up some Cooper Kupp-ish numbers. I don't believe in them. Sleep. Pretenders.
Green Bay Packers just won, getting the playoffs. Jordan Love under center. What do you think about those guys?
Absolutely hell no. Hell no. No way. Jordan, get out of here. This guy, no. They're going to get mollywopped the first game. Pretenders, this is going to be laughable. Won't even be a game. Green Bay, no way.
I think Jordan Love's good. I don't know about all that, but so you got one contender out of the NFC, and that's the 49ers.
There's
I guess that's
only
who you got
one
coming.
Team that has a chance of winning it.
Well, I have to agree with you very, very briefly that I'm more bullish on the Lions. I definitely think there's some sort of magic that they've got. They're going to get their first home playoff game in a long time.
So hard against the Lions.
I guess that means they probably play the Rams. Be hard to see them losing that one. Anyway.
All right, Sleep Dog.
Can't argue with them. All right, here we go.
Let me hit you with the AFC Pretender Contender Series. This is what you all been tuning in for.
Dude, I haven't
Sleep
done one of these
Dogs debut. Let's see let's take you inside the mind of the Sleep Dog. We're hitting them with the AFC Contender Pretender Sleep Ravens.
This shit is absolute believer. I mean, they got Jimmy's famous seafood crab cake mojo coming, dude. How the hell could you not go to Tailgoat when they're going to be in the number one seed in the playoffs? Lamar Jackson's a real deal. I think they lost either today or last week. Maybe they had one bump in the road. Yeah. I don't know, man. Their defense is like insane. They got talent all around the ball. Lamar Jackson's a stud. He's probably going to win the MVP. Be hard not to. I don't know. Christian McCaffrey's pretty good. Brock Purdy, some other guys that could win it. But yeah, Ravens absolute contender.
Yep, Lambo Ferrari when it comes down to the MVP. You like Lamar or you like McCaffrey. All right, Sleep, let's move on to the Dolphins, the team I hate the most on this list. Pretender, contender.
So they're hurt, man. So this is a toss up for me, but I got to lean towards pretender. So that's the way I'm going. They started to cool off a little bit. Well, I'm not going to go there. Poor Tyrese's house had a little issue, so glad everybody's okay over there. I was going to use a little bit of a metaphor there that I'm going to avoid here. So anyway, I still think they got some injuries. They're not going to get it done. They got great running backs in Mostert and Tua. Kung Fu Tua is solid, right? They got all the pieces. I love Mike McDaniel. I know a lot of people don't like him, but he reminds me of like me, right? If I were a chance to be a coach, everybody'd be like, dude, what the fuck? What the hell is this guy, right? So I mean, I can see some of myself and what he's been able to accomplish. I won't be upset like you if they prove me wrong. I'll enjoy watching it. So, all right, but pretender.
Sleep, moving on. The Texans, I can only name one player for them, and C.J. Stroud. Can't tell you who else plays for him. Texans, let's go.
You want to back up to the Chiefs, or you want to go to the Texans first? Chiefs are third.
Okay. Hit me with the Chiefs.
Give me the Chiefs.
What's your thought?
Pretender. And that's a hard thing to say because I really thought, I was equally on the fence with this one, and they're healthy. But you've had all this noise with the Swifties. They've just disappointed all year long. At the end of the day, I think everybody would expect me to say, well, you got Patrick Mahomes, you're defending Super Bowl champions, you got Andy Reid, you got X, you got Y, and you got Z. But wait a second. You don't have Z because Tyreek Hill's on another team, dude. They still haven't found, got to replace that weapon. And they just haven't shown me that they can be consistent enough. And yeah, they're going to get some home field games that they're going to have to win going through somewhere else. I don't think they get it done.
Dude, they have Taylor Swift.
They do have Taylor Swift, but Taylor Swift's
are
on tour
up
right now.
Man, all right. I'm blown away right there.
Be a hell of a tailgate.
All right, Texans, let's go.
Contender. Okay. And you know why?
Wow.
CJ Stroud, dude. This guy is the truth. I'm not, look, here's the one thing you need to know. Okay. Contender, pretender does not mean favorite to win the Super Bowl. All right. I'm just saying that the The Texans are going to make some noise here, dude. They don't have Tank Dell because he went out, I think, for the year. I mean, those guys, dude, CJ Stroud, that's the next guy. CJ Stroud will win multiple MVPs in the NFL.
Man, all right.
Did you see the pass this dude threw today?
No, because he plays for the Texans.
Fucking dot from like 75 yards. I mean, this guy is unreal. I get it. I believe I understand people don't watch Texans. Watch the Texans. You'll have to watch them in the playoffs. CJ Stroud is that guy.
All right, moving on to one of my favorite teams this year. Let's go Browns.
Absolute. The Cleveland Browns will never be a contender for as long as the NFL exists. They're absolute complete pretender. Like, what kind of team gives guaranteed money, $285 million to Deshaun Watson and thinks it's going to turn out well?
But they got Flacco.
Done. Yeah, Flacco, right? Super Bowl. Right. Super Bowl flacks. Yeah.
Moving on.
They can flack off. Okay.
To a drama-filled team, the Bills. Let's go.
Absolute contender. Josh Allen's the man. Bills Mafia, dude. How are you going to count against these guys? The Buffalo Bills are the only team, maybe in professional sports, that I think their fans actually contribute to the product on the field. I mean, Buffalo, if you've ever been there, the nicest people in America, and their fans, dude. There are literally bars here in Raleigh, North Carolina. There's Buffalo Brothers on Capitol Boulevard. I mean, I suggest you stay away from that whole area that place is after dark these days. But Buffalo fans will be out there with RVs, with their Buffalo zebra pants, jumping off the top of their RVs, breaking tables in a Raleigh, North Carolina chain restaurant parking lot. I mean, those guys are for real, and so are the Bills.
Sleep, I believe you. And also, I think Niagara Falls is very close to Buffalo. I've been there. It's a beautiful place. If you ever go to Buffalo, go check it out and then get the hell out of there. There's not much else there. I know when I played in Canada, I used to go right through Buffalo. So been there, done that. Won't go back. But moving on to the last team on the list, your guy Tomlin and the Steelers.
Pretender. Mike Tomlin stays, Steelers go, man. No way, dude. They got nothing.
I'm with you.
No chance.
Yep.
I think I just pulled a muscle in my neck with that little spiral.
I've done it.
That was strong. Yeah, there you have it, guys. So sounds like Big Hawk's taking the Niners all the way. I guess, let's give our Super Bowl predictions. Let's go off script here. Let's who do you have in the Super Bowl and who do you have winning the Super Bowl?
All right.
Or maybe let's back up one step. AFC, NFC championship game and Super Bowl winners.
Well, I'd have to pull up the bracket. But
okay. So you got the Niners in the NFC championship game.
Let me see here. So I've got it. So obviously I've got the Niners, and I will actually go with, well, we can't go with New Orleans. Is that New Orleans?
They almost made the playoffs, which would have been wild.
Yeah.
They needed some people to lose that didn't lose.
Let's see here. All right. I will go. I'm going to go Dallas and the Niners, and I think the Niners are going to pull away in the NFC. I think, and then I will go Sleep Dog. I'm going to go Kansas City and Cleveland in the AFC, if that's possible. I think it is.
Kansas City and Cleveland in the AFC. Did you make sure I'm getting that? Yeah. Okay. So this says all. Okay. I was literally just looking there. I saw one of the records on this thing and I was like, God bless. I hope I didn't we just did this whole segment. And I realized the playoffs were not really set, but they are. So you said, give me those back real quick again. Sorry. I was like half paying attention.
So I
Niners
think I said
and who?
The Niners versus the Cowboys. And then I went Cleveland versus Chiefs.
Boy, that would be a snooze-a-thon. Like, who wants to watch the Browns in the AFC Championship?
Dude, I do.
All right, and then who you got in the Super Bowl? Chiefs, Niners?
Nope, I'm going Browns, Niners.
Buddy.
Yes,
the power
Browns,
grid will
Niners.
shut down. Look,
calling it.
Steel production, coal production will be down. A whole Build Back Better plan will have to get put on hold for 2 months if the Browns go to the Super Bowl, because every blue-collar person in America seems like they live in Ohio, and they ain't going to do shit for a month if the Browns make a Super Bowl. I think you said you want to make the Browns to make the Super Bowl so you can say that for next 2 years. And obviously got the Niners. Okay, so I got the Niners. Go Niners Lions. I really think as much as I hate it, like if I really, really had to believe it, I mean, hard not to think the Eagles. I don't think Cowboys get there. Hard not to think the Eagles get there because I just feel like they've been too good this season, like A.J. Brown and some of these guys. But I'm telling you, man, I think the Lions, dude, they'll get to play home games until they get to the championship game. I think you got Lions, Niners. I think the I know a dude that likes the Lions I really don't like. So I'll take the Niners in the Super Bowl. Let's see here. We've got I'm going to go Ravens. Go Ravens, and I don't think the Texans are going to get there. I'll go Ravens, Chiefs. I'll go a little chalk. I know I said they weren't a contender, but that meant I didn't think they're going to win. Chiefs, that is. I'll go Ravens, Chiefs. I'll put Ravens, and then you got Ravens, Niners. That ain't going to happen. I promise you guys, you're out there trying to take prop bets, don't pick the Ravens and the 49ers in the Super Bowl, because if I said that shit, it ain't going to happen. But that's what I'm going with, and yeah, I'll take the Niners also. Niners have just been studs all year long. All-around players, and all this is subject to change. We might just give you a new list next week.
Very fluid.
Feel different about it. Yeah. Once all those teams are eliminated in the first round, which can't be, my two Super Bowl my two Super Bowl picks cannot be eliminated in the first round because they don't play in the first round. So at least I'm safe till then. Let's talk real quick, get out of here. National championship game. Because speaking of the coaching carousel, so who the hell is it? It's what is it?
Jim
Washington
Harbaugh, Michigan versus Washington. I don't even know who the hell coaches Washington.
No clue. Who you got?
Michigan's gonna mollywop them. I don't even think Washington has a chance. Dunsky, Michigan, and also Jim Harbaugh. Moving on to the Chargers, calling it here first. I know everyone else is calling it too, but he's out of college after this year.
He's done. So here's the thing with Harbaugh: if he wins the national championship, why would you come back? Why? Go to the NFL. Maybe because you're just going to get $10 billion from Michigan. I hate Michigan, but hard not to see them winning this. You ever watch Pee Wee Herman when you were young?
Sleep. No, hell no.
I think you did. You just don't want to say it. I watched the shit out of it.
Yeah, I did.
I think today's word of the day is mollywop. And if you said mollywop, everybody, remember when they had the word of the day and they said it and everybody fucking yelled. So anyway, a couple F-bombs in here. I'll try to scale those back on the next episode. Sorry, Mr. Hansbrough and Mrs. Hansbrough. And
thanks, Sleep.
I don't think my dad can hear very well. So he probably missed them. But yeah, that's it, man. I did actually get him Jimmy's Famous Seafood box for Christmas, and he loved it. So if you guys didn't get one, they still sell them after Christmas. You should get one. But the funny thing was I did give it away. Apparently I did say that on the podcast, and I didn't think he listened. And then actually, he knew what he was getting for Christmas because, but of course he called me. He's like, man, I just got home and it smells like crab cakes in here. Yeah. Anyway, man, your parents will love them. I love them.
Surprised.
Eating them tomorrow. He didn't even act surprised. He acted surprised that I didn't get him something else because he already knew what he was getting. But anyway, happy birthday, Dad. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody. Statute of limitations officially passed. No more Happy New Years after this one because it's not new anymore. So
yeah, guys.
Get on with it. Okay. Basically 2025. Got anything else, Big Hawk?
Stay safe.
Stay safe.